Journal of Current Biology, as well as the Institute of Neuroinformatics from Zurich, tell us that using this device repeatedly literally resculpts our minds. And as a result of that, we're moving into an era that we'd like to call smartphone dominance. This consumer is mobile first, mobile led, and mobile immersed. And what I mean by that is almost 75% of their time is actually spent on their device. Who's driving that change is what's surprising. It's the young millennial. It's the mom. It's Hispanics. And we're not the only ones actually saying that. The IAB and Baby Center recently came out with a study, The State of Modern Motherhood, and they talked about the fact that moms are spending 35% more time on their devices than any other device in the house. The fact is, as advertisers, if we're targeting these same segments, should we really be starting with this device?
I mean, are we going in that direction where we're going to incent people to actually contribute their profile and their information and be rewarded for it?
Oh, absolutely. I think for us, it's all about transparency. So when we've got two apps. One is called the Panel app. The other is called Give to Charity. And it's really about being transparent. It's going into the user and saying, your location data is valuable, and we're going to pay you for it. The Give to Charity is kind of taking a different angle and saying, your location data is valuable, but instead of you getting paid directly, we're going to donate $30, $40, $50 a year to the American Cancer Society, Habitat for Humanity. So it's making that clear value exchange. And once you make that value exchange, it gives you access to more data. So we get things like demographics, age, ethnicity, income. We get to see about 1,000 locations per user per day. So that's about one every 90 seconds that we can control when we turn on GPS, Wi-Fi, cell phone. So if you're upfront with the consumer, I think it does work where they'll say, hey, is this a fair trade or not? And if it's a fair trade, they're willing to give you a lot of that data.
A lot of location or place data sets are based on addresses. And when you actually look at an address, addresses are phenomenal. And really what the address was intended for was to get you to the front of that entrance, usually to the parking lot. So if you ever mapped a street address, it's all on the street, which is perfectly fine for navigation. But when you're talking about things like the different things we're using this data for, you have to get a little bit more precise. You need to actually, if we're actually looking at store visits and saying, we're going to measure the effectiveness of mobile based on people that came into your store, or even better, we're going to take that store visit data and build profiles out of that, you probably want to know that that person came into the actual store versus just passing by, or was in the Target versus the yogurt store next door. That makes a big difference.
So this generation that we're talking about, they're called the plurals. There's a few things about the plurals I want you guys to know. They will expect to be connected 24/7. There's no option in that as you're marketing to them. They will expect to manipulate and create content for your brands. You are no longer able to just push things out to them and hope they consume it. They have to be able to be a part of your brand. And finally, they are really going to want that one-to-one the one-to-one relationship with their favorite brands. So this is what this generation is going to be expecting from each and every one of us. So this has really driven the way that we think of our vision at Mattel, to deliver and maximize lifetime value through thought leadership and connected brand engagement. We believe that this applies to all of the audiences that we talk to, but especially for kids. And again, this is where I'm going to hit on a little bit more today is the kid population. Connected brand engagement and lifetime value. Making sure we get our kids at the very youngest time in their lives, develop content and be part of their lives for a lifetime. So that's really what our goal is, and especially in the connected and mobile space.
So I'm going to introduce this concept of ambient computing, because when people think about Internet of Things, it's one of those terms that really smart people use, and you're not really sure what that means. And it sounds cool, but I'd like to make it a little more obvious what's actually happening, what the difference is between this category of devices and computers that we've had in our lifestyles for the last 20 years. The other thing that is true of these devices is that they're connected, whether it's through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or something else. There's a network that they're always attached to. But what's essential to connect them to the environment is some kind of sensor. Every device in this category, you can think of it as being either contextual or even sensory, have some kind of sensory awareness. These devices get implemented in people's houses, and their relationship with that device is not just a one-off transaction like the previous generation. So there's an ongoing relationship between the manufacturer and the consumer. These devices have a completely different business model and a completely different way of relating to their customers.